it should be all positive. And when we play with the right frame of mind, this team can beat anybody. I believe that.
Able to force 25 turnovers last time against Michigan State. I mean, how do you maybe make that play to your favor more?
Well, I think it's the catch-22. You know, they got a lot of lobs at the rim because of our ability to pressure and do some of those things. And you know, we didn't capitalize as much on those turnovers as we had hoped. We missed a couple layups in transition. You know, we are who we are. And you know, we've got to do a better job. They caught us in a couple of rotations that were schematic things. That hurt us, but you know, you get Jackson going to the to offensive rebound. You get those guys attacking the rim. We've got to do a better job, and we just kind of got out of the way of it. Probably 4 or 5 charges. We'll talk at length about that stuff.
Is Tijon playing his best basketball right
now? Yeah, and I didn't think Tijon was great last night. I thought he did some good things. I thought he made some unusually poor decisions, which he usually doesn't make. But he gives us a great lift. And the one thing with Tijon fights, and he competes. We put him on Palmer a big chunk of the night, and he's responsible for Palmer having really kind of a subpar night by his standards. Made him fight for everything, and I would say he's playing his best. I don't think last night was one of his best, but he's turned into a capable scorer for a guy who hasn't really shot the ball great from the perimeter, but he's found a way to get it on the rim and made a big play against the zone. And he sees and understands the game well. So I've been really pleased with that. It's great to have him on the floor.
Showed the trust you have in Mark playing him in the late game last night and gave you some plays. What's kind of the message to him going forward here for the final stretch of the season?
Yeah, be a good player. Be a good player. It's time. And I think my confidence in Mark has always been maybe higher than he's gotten in himself. And you know, I challenge guys, and I challenge Mark every day. And he's a guy that has a tremendous amount of offensive talent. He's a guy that we all know has struggled at times defensively, but he's getting better. And you know, that was my challenge last night to him, and he stepped up and dealt with a little adversity and hit a big shot, made a big layup, and more importantly, the bigger than all those was the offensive rebound, just him going. You know, you look at Mark's stat sheets a lot, and it's points or nothing else. And that's what we've been challenging Mark with, is doing those other things to affect the game. Well, Mark made the biggest play of the night just because he went to rebound. The deflection was off them, and we got the ball back late. So little things that impact winning, and I expect Mark to have a great end of the season. I really do.
Can a game like that maybe boost his confidence in himself a little bit?
I hope so. It should. It should, because I challenged him. I mean, I got after him. He got beat on a straight line drive that put a second foul on LeRon, and you know, those are mistakes you can't make. And then I ran a play for him against the zone, which we'd run many times, and expected him to drive it. It's a great opportunity for him to dump it to LeRon or go shoot a layup, and he passed on it. And when you play with fear or lack of confidence, then I can't play you. And I challenged him about that, and he responded. So, you know, like I said, my confidence in Mark has always been maybe quite a bit higher than he has in himself.
Trent called LeRon Boogie last night. Is that how he's referred to around here?
I don't even know him as LeRon. That's all I call him is Boog. No, it's kind of just his nickname. I don't know where he got it. I followed along with what the players call him, and you know, I put it on the practice plan, Boog. You know, it's everybody's. So.
Is that like a comparison to DeMarcus Cousins at all, or is that just what they
I hope not.
One day?
I better be careful there. No, I don't. I'll be honest. I don't know where it came from. I don't. You have to ask them. I don't know. I think it was established before my time, but it's something everybody calls him that, so I go with it.
You want some consistency and some sense of reliability with your guys, so that you know what you might get from game to game. And LeRon is the guy who it seems to come closest to giving you that every night. He's just pretty reliable. Yeah,
he's had an unbelievable year. He's been really good, and his field goal percentage, his like I said, you know, I always want more from him. I always expect more from really good players, and so I'm never satisfied with him. I want more rebounds. I want, you know, more of this, more of that, more challenges at the rim, and yet I know how much energy he expends because everything he sees is geared basically to him. And when you look at the productivity, when you dive into a scout and you see how people are playing us and how tight the floor is, how shrunk the floor is, and how he's getting his points, pretty impressive. And then I think we see where he's expanded his game. You know, he came off the two-man game last night and hit a 15-foot pull-up, and that's something we practice every day. And then, you know, his three-point range is, you know, something he's very, very comfortable with, and we've got to exploit in the right matchups. So, yeah, he's a good player. He's hard to guard, and you know, my challenge is putting him in spots that give him the opportunities to be successful.
What kind of on-the-court chemistry do you see between Kipper and LeRon?
I think it's growing. I think if I could get those two guys to talk on the court like they talk off the court, I could really give you a really positive answer on that. You know, still this team's biggest downfall is we don't talk, we don't communicate, and I think to have great chemistry, you've got to be able to communicate, and neither one of those guys probably talk enough, and but they're at the offensive end. They're a good play off each other, and that's something that becomes very difficult to guard and scheme for.
You've seen teams twice now. Well, not Purdue, but you'll see Rutgers again and Michigan State tomorrow. How much at this point in the year is it? Everybody knows what they're going to run and what's going to be done, and it's just execution, or are there a lot of new wrinkles you could throw in or expect from the opponents?
No, we see a lot. I mean, Nebraska hasn't played a lick of 2-3 zone all year. I mean, they've played it. It's been less than 1%. It's not showing up on synergy. So, you know, that's a pretty big wrinkle right there. And you get different fronts of zones like that, and you know, you've got different plays to run. So we fully prepared for 1-3-1, and we saw 2-3. As we did there, we played a lot of zone in the game there that we hadn't played. So yeah, everybody in this league, the coaches in this league are going to scheme you somehow. They're going to take something away, and you better be prepared for you know, for what that curveball is that they throw, so to speak, or change up. So yeah, we'll throw a couple wrinkles in and a couple things. If we had success, we'll have to tweak here and there, and we always do that. This game's no different than any other.
How much have those wrinkles or adjustments the defenses have made affected the offense, especially like the scoring droughts?
It's not the scoring droughts. It's not them. The scoring droughts are us when we just go dribble crazy and the ball sticks in guys' hands. That's why last night, the first half was great. I mean, the ball moved, and when you cut harder and the defense moves, you get an opportunity to get layups, and guys are starting to read the defense, and then we can take advantage of matchups, and we put Kipper in the pinch, and he hits a three against Jordy Tishominga, and you know, you can start to scheme some things. So ball movement's it. When this team gets in trouble, the ball sticks and we dribble. If I could eliminate the dribble with this team, other than really probably Trent, I would. And but you know, that and the 19, 20, 21 second, 22 second threes that we don't make the team. You know, we don't make teams guard.
Going back to LeRon a little bit, you had really high expectations for him at the beginning of the year, but you said they just keep growing. Where are they at now? Like, how has he been performing to those standards that you had when you first got him?
Well, you know, I didn't know LeRon could be as effective scoring the ball against size as he is. I thought there would be a lot of challenges. A lot of big guys that I've had, or interior guys, let me rephrase it, interior players I've had, have always sometimes struggled to score. I didn't know that he would grow into a guy that we could run some actions to get threes, bring him off the dribble for some action. I thought he would be the junkyard dog offensive rebounder, undersized big that had to score on offensive rebounds, you know, had to score with an angle. He's shined in not just those areas, but all the others. And Now we got to get him to foul line. We've got to get him. There's a lot more productivity out there as he continues to hone in on his footwork. That I'm excited about for next year and as we move forward, because you start getting him to the line 6, 8 times, 10 times a game. Now you've got a guy that everybody has to fear because of fouls.
That backside lob has been good to you guys the last 2 games. Is that one of those counters or wrinkles that these guys are starting to grasp?
That's an everyday thing. When we're good, that's there. If the defense jumps to the ball, we got to be able to throw it, and we got to be able to read it. And you look at all my teams, as much as we've run this in the past, that option is first and foremost. That is the whole basis of it, and that makes their pinch post defender have to support and help, which opens up that. It's the first step in really executing that offense, and our guys are starting to look for it. Our guys are starting to feel comfortable understanding when guys are open. Mark Smith threw a great pass. AJ threw a great pass, and it's a really tough play to defend.
Any change for Michael?
He does his due diligence today with his concussion protocol, and I would not expect him to play tomorrow. But I know just through the protocol, there's workouts involved once you clear that. So we'll see how that next test, so to speak, is the results of. Don't know.
This has got nothing to do with anything, but where are you on the cycle for off-season overseas trips? When do you?
We are 2 years, Derek. We can't go this summer. I think we can go next summer.
You forgot about France, Mark?
I think we can go in 19.
Okay.
I think we can go in 19. So, if I'm going by Derek there. I think that's right. I think that's what
He's
we're.
always right.
I think that's what we're looking at. He's not always right. Don't take that. Don't tell him.
I remember that one
He
time.
tells us he's always right.
There
Don't
was
tell
that
him
one
that.
time.
So, thanks, guys.
Thank you.